Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mrs. Berry,
Here.
Mr. Chapman,
Here.
Mrs. Stevens,
Here.
Mrs. Von Dracek,
Here.
Mr. Mickle.
Here. Please stand for roll call. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I need approval of minutes of the March 10th, 2021 regular board meeting.
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chapman. Yes. Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried. Need approval of financial reports as presented by the treasurer.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Discussion?
We got our second ESSER application approved, with just a general understanding of what we're gonna do is just, we're gonna look to offset, those FFCRA leaves for all the employees this year, reimburse our general fund for that. And also the TVLA kids, are the two main things we're gonna try to get right away. They did pre-approve that HVAC unit, project that we approved that last phase, that we can use some of those extra monies, and I'll save our PI fund. But I'm just waiting to get approval from our co-op program to make sure they meet the federal guidelines. So since we start using federal money, we have to meet their guidelines. So they're supposed to send me something. So as soon as I get that, we'll start moving forward with those projects too.
What about buses?
No, we have the funds available in the PI. We're not
Can
gonna
we
touch.
use any of this COVID money?
It's a lot. You have to be able to justify it, whether you're, expanding routes or doing stuff like that to make sure kids are, somehow you have to tie it back to dealing with COVID. So
Get
Doing-
creative.
yeah, we're not gonna do that, but that's something I know some districts are looking into, is just somehow you have to tie it back to whether it's somehow safety or distancing or adding extra routes to be able to justify doing that.
Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman. Yeah. Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried. Superintendent's report.
We had a few things. First off, we had our high school come back, since the last board meeting, which was March 15th for 5 days. I think that's run pretty well. And, again, we're glad to see all the students back. I know that was a lot of work to kind of figure out and everything. So thank you to all the staff that contributed to that. I wanted to mention, we had the Pfizer vaccines available today at Packard Music Hall. And I think we had 11 students who took advantage of that. They put out something that they're going to have a second round. These will be done at the Trumbull County Fairgrounds. I just got that information today. That will be the 22nd. And there will be some documents I asked Mr. Fairfield to kind of put up on Facebook regarding that. And from what I understand, if a parent takes the student, the parent, as long as they fill out one of those forms, they could get it too. So that I thought that was nice. We just got donated to us, all of the districts in the county got some home test kits. It was basically passed out based on school district size, ADM. So we received 9 boxes, which I picked up Monday and Tuesday. And there's roughly 6 per box. So we got about 54 of these home test kits. As I understand it, there's still like a telehealth process with it. So the nurse has them currently, and we were just gonna kind of, as we felt there was need to pass them out, that's what we were gonna do. So
The way they work, they have to be sent in for test results.
I think you do it right there, and then through talking with the practitioner, I thought you got the results.
Oh,
It's a rapid result.
okay.
Pretty quickly.
But you do need a consultation with the physician in order to access the test. And then you would upload your results to a database. Mhm.
Thank you.
Just a couple more things. Monday and Tuesday this week, I was at OTES 2.0 bridge training. We've worked through the Ohio teacher evaluation system for many years now. And they've tried to change, they've made some slight changes to it. The thinking is that it's for the better. And I sat through that the last couple of days, and it was helpful to see kind of what all is entailed with that, what the principals do, what the rubric looks like, if there's any changes to it. So I thought that was very useful. The last thing I want to mention here, because I know the library it is a big topic right now, and I just want to say a few things. You know, we are very fortunate, and I don't know how many schools around can say this, but we're very fortunate that we have a public library right next door that we have access to. And I know 5th and 6th grade classes oftentimes, go over there. And, I think that's been a nice, relationship for us over the years. And, one of the things with our library is, unfortunately, with this whole COVID situation, we haven't had actual elementary library since March of last year, so it'd be March of 2020. And, this year, we've just kind of had to make do. One of the reasons for that, too, is we had to use it as a classroom. Because when we brought in a couple extra teachers at the beginning of the year, just for the purpose of social distancing, we needed bigger rooms, and we repurposed the art room. We repurposed the old music room, the library. Now I know, now they're saying, well, you can go down to 3 feet in elementaries, but with class sizes, I can't say honestly right now for this next school year whether or not we would need to use the library again as a classroom. With that being said, I got I received, and I forwarded along to you, we got the petition, and I looked over that. I looked at some of the responses to it. I also received a letter Friday, which I forwarded to you all, from our teaching staff here. And, I realize the library, to many, holds a special place and importance. And I think, this hasn't been an easy decision to kind of come by. But one thing I want to say is this: I am not opposed to keeping the library as is and keeping it intact. And that means all the books staying in there. And basically, I'm not opposed to if our staff wants to use it. It just will not be staffed by a staff member. And we can look into, how they can use it kind of themselves to take students in, check out some books and use it as they feel they need to. The one thing I want to say that I'm kind of excited about with the public library is I've talked to them about, our K-2 students specifically, and making, I've asked them to be more mobile with the library and maybe bringing Bristol Public Library into our school in some way, as opposed to just us having to take students over there. So, with that being said, I make my recommendations in this agenda. And as with anything, you take my recommendations and you make the choice, whatever the choice you feel you need to. And that's all I have from myself.
Okay, committee reports. Christina.
On a tech side,
We purchased two 65-inch Clever Touch interactive TVs that we're going to use within the elementary school. They were purchased with Title I funds. We are also going to be having a new data cabling installed in the admin offices. This will allow for faster connection speeds for their offices. On a liaison side for students, I wanted to give a shout out to the science club. I've heard great things coming out of there, and I am pretty impressed that they're raising worms as much as I can't stand worms. But it is pretty cool that they started doing that, so it's very impressive. They also had today YSU come and help the students with making and launching a water rocket, which is pretty cool. And then on a side note, it's just something to think about. I know a lot of people are concerned with grades and how their kids have been learning remotely, and especially with math is a big thing. So one of the things I came across was tutoring is emerging now as a leading solution to help students recover learning losses, especially from this pandemic. And one recent study has found that students in high school who have a daily at-school tutoring by recent college graduates learn 2 to 3 times more just in math alone. So I just wanted, that's just kind of like a food for thought, just to think about. So if we do anything with tutoring, I think that's a great solution to maybe think about. So that is all I have.
Okay, Scott.
From an athletics point of view, we're into the baseball, softball, and track season. Haven't seen much in the newspaper as far as the track is concerned, but I know that the baseball and softball has been doing fairly well. They've won more than they've lost, so the weather has been playing havoc a little bit, but I think for the most part, the weather's been fairly nice to the point where they've got more games in than normal this time of year. So, and then from the financial side of things, Mario has done a good job. We've covered that, and I have nothing to offer on that side.
Misty.
Couple things going on. State testing is happening in most grades right now through the middle of May. And then prom is scheduled for April 30th. National Honor Society induction ceremony will be May 10th at 6:30. The next board meeting is Wednesday, May 12th. There's a TCTC completion ceremony, and that's being held at Eastwood Field this year on Monday, May 17th. Academic awards ceremony for the high school is taking place on May 20th in the gym. And then the senior breakfast is May 26th. And that's also the last day for seniors. And then graduation is May 28th.
Brooke.
From TCTC, we are up to 15 juniors that have been accepted into their respective programs. So that's an exciting number. April 23rd is the acceptance recognition day. So the students are invited because most of them have never seen TCTC. The open house was a virtual open house this year. So they decided to do 1.5 hours on the morning of April 23rd, inviting those juniors into the school, giving them a tour, getting them acquainted with their teachers and programs, and kind of letting them feel it out. So that is something different that they're doing this year. 2 of our students have done some great work at TCTC, and just to kind of showcase them, Marguerite Schrock is competing at Skills USA, competing for state over the course of the next month and a half for her job interview skills, which is good. And Kenneth Swager is student of the month. So he was recognized by his electrical tech teacher, Mark Taylor. He says that he's a conscientious, hardworking student, maintains honor roll, and carries a 3.8. He's a sponge when it comes to learning and always wants more. Whenever I needed any help in the classroom, he's consistently the first one to volunteer. So we're just, you know, it's exciting for me to go to the meetings and hear such great stuff about Bristol students. In, you know, they have hundreds of students. And so for 2 of ours to be like standing out in the superintendent's report, I'm just excited for them. So that is all I have on the TCTC front. Thank you.
Thank you. As for the building itself, I've been in here at least 2 or 3 times a week. Students are doing a good job of maintaining distance. Again, The elementary kids are great with it. I mean, they have been all year and they continue to be maintaining distance, wearing masks, that sort of thing. So I'd like to compliment the staff on at least teaching them how we have to do things right now. The other thing which Mario touched on is the units on the roof that we're putting in. We got money, we're able to use some of this COVID money to replace those, which will save us money in our permanent improvement fund. And that's all I have on my committee. I'd now like to welcome visitors and invite public participation. Does anybody have anything to bring before the board?
And Ted said we have at least 4 that would like to speak, so we're gonna do them one at a time.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so Lonnie Peterson.
Hello. We have I'm here to address the library issue. Right now we have a wonderful library within our own school that our students have used since the beginning that the school was built, so like 20 years. It's been staffed. We've been told that the decision is coming to close our library and to lay off the librarian, Mrs. Humchowski. We've been told it's not about money. So I'm just asking you why. Why are you deciding to close the elementary library and to lay off the librarian when kids use it every single week? Each class gets to go every single week with her help, pick out books. She reads to them. They get to sit in the library and read. And if it's closed, that's not going to happen anymore. If it stays open and she or a librarian, it's not about Sharon. If a librarian is not there to staff it, it's not going to stay organized. It's not going to stay functional. It's not going to stay usable for our kids. And we've got, the youngest kids who, to take them over to the public library and get coats and hats and gloves and boots on, I mean, that could take an hour to get them ready, over there, pick out books, and then come back. So the teachers are going to lose lots of instructional time when we have what we need right here working well. Sure, we didn't have to use it, or we weren't able to use it this year because of COVID and because we needed to social distance. I get that. But if that's not the case, next year, the following year, I just don't see a reason to close a library when we have it here and it's good for our kids. We've got Amish kids who, this is the only time they get to pick out a book and have a book in their hand. We've got young kids who they need that chance to choose a book for fun, not because their teacher's making them, not because they have to do something, but because they're learning to love to read in a library that is safe, that is comfortable, that is not because they have to do it for class. Right now, a teacher can send a couple kids to the library and then work with other kids and do intervention. If that teacher now has to go check out books and restock books and keep track of all of these books, that's going to be time lost. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, this decision to close a library that we have here at school that works and is a positive thing for our kids. We took music away from our kids. Now we're going to take the library away from our kids. What else are we going to take away from our kids when we don't have to? It's not about the money. So then why? I just, we are here asking you today. We know that, you make decisions that are best for our kids. So I'm asking you tonight to do what's best for our kids and to keep our library open with a librarian to run the library and help teachers to drive the student success.
Well, one thing I do want to say, funding is always a consideration. And, we have to consider, with what we have coming in, what's the best way to spend it? And I really don't believe moving forward that this is the best way to spend this money. And, we mentioned going over the library as an inconvenience. I know our preschool, which is the Trumbull County Educational Service Center, was where we have our preschool from. They've gone over to the library. You know, I understand it's inconvenient in some ways to go over, but at the same time, you know, I think it's being overblown a little bit how much of an effort it is to actually go over there. And, you know, we've had, I heard something about a safety concern. You know, we take kids over to the library and there's a concern about, well, I was mentioned in the letter about that, well, there could be people there and there's concern about who children are going to run into. We take children on field trips. We go to all kinds of places. And that's not even within our district. That's outside somewhere. And we don't consider that. I've seen field trips go over to the post office, you know, where we're crossing 88. I've seen field trips in the past go over to the old fire station. There was no problem with that. But, you know,
But
access.
this is going to be an every week or every 2 week thing. So then we're getting permission slips every week or every 2 weeks. I mean, it just, when we have it right here, safe, it doesn't make sense.
I think you could get a permission slip for the year.
I don't think you're allowed to. And I'm sorry, Sharon's salary is about 22,000 plus benefits. We're gonna pay the library, what, $8,000, $10,000 to be able to take them over there. So $14,000 we're saving to lose a library that we've had for 20 years that has wonderful books, and we're gonna throw it away.
It's over $22,000 because the cost of benefits.
Okay, so still, you're paying $8,000 to go to, that we're still gonna go to the public library. It doesn't make sense.
Anything else from Bonnie? Okay,
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you. Who's next up? Okay, Dana?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I agree with Vonnie and the rest of the elementary teachers. I feel like we need to have our library at the elementary. And I know there's money issues, and that's always an issue, but I want you to think about what our students have gone through this year. It's been an unprecedented year of restrictions for these young students. And you've all seen them and how hard they've worked to maintain social distancing, to do all the things we've asked them to do. And they're masked and they have to stay in the same classroom almost all day long. They don't get to socialize with their peers in other classes that they used to be able to say hello to. They faced family members that have been ill, and some of them have lost family members. And I just think that we owe it to our students to make our elementary school a warm, inviting place to learn. You know, I've had kids a lot of times that have really deep emotional issues. And sometimes I'll pull them to the side and I'll tell them, you know, I know your home life, I know home isn't going so good right now, but let's make school the best place it can be. Make this place your safe place. Let this family be just a wonderful place to be. And I think we owe it to our kids. We've taken so much away from them, and we have the ability to give them this thing. And I think we need to keep our library. We have it. We're not asking you to acquire a new one. It's been in place for 20 years. And I just think we need to give our kids the joy of being able to stay in their very own school in a safe place that they're all comfortable with, to enjoy books and enjoy learning and just having that safe place to be. And I know that you all take this so seriously, and I know that you want the best for our kids. And I'm just asking you to just let them stay at home. Let them stay at Bristol Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for your letter.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Ted is next. Sure.
Hi, this is Denise Majevic. I've been teaching at Bristol for 26 years, and I'd just like to thank you again for letting us speak tonight to express some of our concerns. I agree with what Vonnie and Dana have also said, but like to add a little bit of the younger grades perspective into this. Yes, like Mr. Dre said, we do take ours on field trips when permissible, at least once a month. But the difference is that we do have chaperones that accompany us to all the field trips, because if we're watching 20 plus students in the library or on a field trip, then we need those extra bodies with us just to keep an eye where the kids are going, to make sure they're not damaging any of the property, to watch they're not getting lost or wandering off. So if we do this, would we be taking chaperones with us? Because when we even went to the library or the post office, even though it was just right across the street, for one teacher, especially with the 5 and 6 year olds, to take them there, you need at least a person in the beginning of the line, a person watching that they don't wander off. Because like we do for many of those evacuation drills just right next door, ours wander off with the high school kids all the time. So we really need to be watching the younger ones when we're walking back and forth or in a public area. And then if one by chance has to use the restroom while we're there, we have to take them to the restroom. Well, who's going to be watching the other students at the same time? So it's just something to think about. Yes, it's probably feasible. Do we want it to happen? No, when we have something available right in our school that Vonnie said, we can be working with other students. When we did computer class, we would be in the computer lab and send a couple over and still be able to watch them back and forth and work with students as needed. As a lot of you know, I brought my oldest child, Allie, and my youngest one, Christopher, with me. So I was just talking to them last night and said, what are your ideas about this? Do you think it's necessary to have a library in the school? And my youngest one, who's 14 now, he's an avid reader. He goes, Mom, that was one of my best memories of being with you. I loved going to the library, hearing the story time, getting to pick my own book out, using the book sticks that Mrs. Humchowski taught us how to use. He goes, I really love going to the library. And still to this day, I take him to Howland Library, and just for them to get their first experience with books and the library and learning how to use it. In the beginning of the year, Sharon will spend 2 to 3 weeks just teaching them how to use the library, where to get their sticks, how to treat a book, how to sit for story time. So it's a lot of things that maybe the older grades don't really understand what really goes into teaching the younger ones how to use a library. And it really takes both of us, 2 or 3 people in the library to help them with that. The other thing that my oldest daughter, who was still around when we had music, said that was her most memorable thing. She remembers the music programs. And I know a lot of parents love that. The parents eat that stuff up. If you did even a program with the music, they're missing that. So it seems like when we're taking more things away, you're going to be losing some kids at schools that still have these kind of programs. And I just talked to my friend in Austintown, and they have a big campus at Austintown with all the schools joined together. There's a public library right at the end of the school road. So I asked her, I said, do you still have libraries in each building? And she said, yes, they did try to take away the high school library last year, but the teachers fought it and they were able to keep it for the students, because even though the public library and the school library, it's 2 different things. So I would just like you to reconsider, maybe get some more input or information from even parents, community members, us teachers. Because like we said, if we wouldn't have heard from Sharon, we wouldn't have any idea about the library closing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
You want to?
Still shows Denise up there.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm here speaking today again on behalf of course, the closure of the library, the elementary library. I just want to, first of all, thank you for letting us all speak about this topic this evening. You know, I have concerns. Obviously, I don't have children that are in the elementary school, but I have many friends that do. I believe that it's a controlled environment. Again, you have a smaller space to keep the students, again, secure. It's a gem. As all of the prior speakers have said, you know, this is something that definitely I would think that you would want to keep, you know, again, in the building. You know, if there aren't any financial issues, again, I don't understand why it just cannot be kept. You know, COVID is not a permanent thing. COVID is going to go away. So that space is going to open up again. And, you know, Mr. Gray, I did hear you say that, you know, you were open to using the library, just not having it staffed. But I have a concern with that because that could be one step now, but there still could be a closure later. You know, again, as Mrs. Majovic said, music class was taken away from the students. I had my sons were in the midst of all of that. My oldest son loved music. And I just think that was again, another terrible thing to take away from the students. They've been through enough. They truly, truly have. And that's basically all I have to say. Again, you know, I do think that it should be kept. It's a controlled environment. It's a good thing to have within our district. Instead of sending small students to the larger public library where you have other people that are walking around. And as Ms. Majovic said, she has chaperones that are with her and her students whenever they attend field trips. There will not be chaperones at the library, at the public library.
This is Gabrielson. I do want to say two things real quick. One thing, like I said, I have talked with Bristol Public Library, and we really do want to gear K2 especially, them kind of coming in, and we've been kind of we've talked about it a little bit, but they are supposed to be presenting me with a plan this summer for how we're going to do a better job at that. So my goal really is to see what we can do with K2 there. And then if we can expand it further into third, fourth, and so on, you know, we want to do that too. And then the other thing you had mentioned, you know, what is the next step? Because at some point, am I going to say, well, we're just going to close the library? I think if we keep it open and you know, our staff is using it, and again, it's kind of, it would be more self-service, and we'd have to figure that out. If they're using it, I don't see why we couldn't keep it open and keep it as is. You know, again, you know, as you know, and I'm sure you see, you know, things are changing. At one time, this elementary computer lab, they used to have computer aides. And then over the years, due to finances, the aides, you know, we're no longer employed, but, you know, staff members still use the lab. And, you know, they learn to kind of use it themselves. And, you know, our staff is extremely capable. We have a great staff here. And I can't say that enough. But things have changed over the years a lot. We talk sometimes about these computers in here. These were state of the art when we bought them. I can't remember how many years ago it was.
And I understand that, but again, you have a controlled environment. Why would you want to remove the students out of a controlled environment? It's controlled.
But
Am I not?
You said remove. I'm not saying completely remove.
But that's not how it's presented in the board minutes. If you don't have a library aide there,
Well,
and
you gotta
Mrs.
teach-
Majevic definitely did touch on how, students are taught how to, check out a book, things about the library. Students would not know, again, how to take care of a book, how to check a book out, a card catalog, things like that. Those are taught, obviously, in the library, in the elementary library. And these are important things to know as a student.
Okay.
Anything else, Jennifer?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ted, do we have anyone else? That could be,
They want to speak.
do they want to speak? Okay.
Yes, hi, everybody. This is Ray Sponsor. How's everybody doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good. I also, probably as you expected, have a big concern about this library issue. Because when I was younger and even still today, I've always enjoyed reading and I'm a big advocate of it. There's, as most of you that read a lot would understand that you can always, especially in today's environment with all the stress and all the real world activities that's going on, it's nothing better than to open up a good book and literally just forget today's troubles and get involved in it and just lose yourself in that book and picture yourself in that book. And I think you also agree that kids, their vocabulary is enhanced. They're a lot smarter. They can broaden their minds if they can open up a book and read it and add to what they've already learned in school. There's nothing better than that. Now, I feel we should be opening access to having these kids get access to books, and giving them more access rather than taking away from them. I can understand there's always a money issue, but it seems that the kids always seem to lose whenever there's a money issue or some sort of other issue involved in that. And I just feel that we, in this age of internet and video games and everything else, when I was growing up, there was a lot more opportunities to do stuff and to get away from stuff and enjoy yourself and relax. And now it just seems like I ask what kids are doing, my grandkids and my kids included, and a lot of it involves being on the internet or video games or something else. And it's also, there's a lot of stress, especially in this past year. And you hear a lot more of these kids and, suicide rate and all sort of emotional problems. I think this would be a big release from them to be able to access the book. And I think it's a lot easier for them if they would have access like within a couple of feet or just a walk next door, whatever, to go to the library and have to go through all the hassle and hubbub of getting dressed up like in the wintertime, whatever, coats on and go all this to go across the street to a public library. So, that's my big concern. I think it would be a great opportunity for them to be able to do that and open up and broaden their access to that rather than take it away. And that's all I had to say. Oh, hang on a minute.
Putting so much on the teachers.
And also it's, putting a lot of that on teachers to have to chaperone them and this and that. I think it's more controlled in that environment within the school. And like the others have entertained the idea about going out there in front of the public, it gives people more of a time interact with kids open and the other public rather than being more controlled like inside the school. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ted, do we have anyone else? Okay.
I just have one more comment. You know, it seems like the solution here is to keep our library open and now the teachers will be the librarian, which that's not feasible. You're taking time away that we can provide intervention during that time and help kids to reshelve books, to check books out, to, you know, reshelving the books takes a ton of time that after a month or two, it is going to be disorganized chaos that isn't going to be able to be used anymore. For what? For $20,000. I mean, you know, I just really hope that you consider everything that has been said tonight, and you know, there's over 25, 30 people here at this board meeting tonight. And I've attended every board meeting for the last year and a half, 2 years. And the most there has been at one is 6 people. So, I mean, there's big concerns here, and I just talk to more people, table it, talk to the community, talk to the parents, talk to the kids, talk to the teachers. Not one teacher has been spoken to about this, of their thoughts and their concerns until tonight. So I just ask you to reconsider this decision and do what's in the best interest of the kids and of the teachers and of the school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else, Ted?
Anything under old business? New business. Motion to approve resolution 2021-06, graduation requirements for the class of 2021.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Drasek?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the class of 2021 for graduation on May 28, 2021, provided they meet all state and local requirements.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Drasek?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the sale of bus number 12, bid number, and there it is, the Bloomfield Mespo School District, the amount of $4,000.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
This will be the second time we sold a bus to them, and, you know, again, I like working with the local district, knowing somebody is gonna get good use out of it, especially if somebody close.
Roll call.
Mrs. Von Drasek?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the sale of past yearbook inventory at $20 per book, exhibit 2021-7.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
I have a comment. Is there any way to put that out there to the book, out there to the public, that if any students would like to purchase from past years that are available?
Yeah, Craig reached out to me about potentially doing it. When they
Okay.
switched rooms, he had a lot of this extra inventory. And because he wanted to sell it at a lower price than we usually do. he
Yeah, I
needs to
saw
track
that one
everything.
year has 81, so I was just, that number shocked me, that's all. But that's a
And
lot of
I had to
years.
reach out to Mrs. Suttles, who's the previous yearbook advisor, just asking like why the extra inventory. And the company in the past had a minimum order. And so I think that particular year just obviously didn't sell as many. So that's why there's some extra ones. So Craig's gonna reach out and keep track how he needs to the auditors to sell these order books and to get rid of it. So,
That's good. That's all I have.
Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Drasek?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, Motion carried. Motion approved Jill Mahan Church as junior high track coach for 2020-2021 school year. Contract will be paid at 2/3 of the supplemental amount.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Reyes?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yeah.
Mr. Michael?
Yes, motion carried. Motion that the employment contract of library aide Sharon Komchowski be suspended and the employee laid off in accord with the collective bargaining agreement and ORC 3319.17 due to lack of work and for financial reasons effective June 30th, 2021. And the treasurer issue the necessary notice to the employee of this action.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Yeah, we can discuss, yeah.
Yeah.
Like in regards to the comments that were made? Or is that no?
You can, yeah, you can do that if you want.
Okay. So I have a question that kept getting brought up, in regards to music being taken away. I guess I'm a little lost because there's still high school music available. So what in regards to the elementary, is it just the 4, 5, 6 that they're talking about is not available anymore?
I think, back, when our last music teacher, Mrs. Gettig, was here, in the elementary, when she retired, she was not replaced.
That reading enrichment, because they were pushing that third grade reading here.
Okay.
Yes, we did replace it with that. For many years, students have been getting banned for 5th and 6th grade. They just were not getting K-4 elementary music. And, you know, one of the things with replacing that, and now we're many years removed from it, over the last, 10 years or so, we've lost over 200 students. And, we used to have 3 homerooms per grade level. Now we're down to 2 per level. Unfortunately, I don't know how you sustain a position when you don't have the students to kind of enough students to satisfy that need. So yes, music did go away in the elementary, but again, that's been a while now. And I thought at one point Mrs. Lisa was just she felt it was a struggle going back and forth between 5th and 6th, and was just going with 6th grade because they could practice every day as opposed to just a couple days a week. That was kind of like the last place we left off.
And I just want to make a comment, in regards to like taking the library away from here. I don't like saying like we're taking it away. I know that's what some people may look at, that we're eliminating it completely. It's not going to be available. And that kills me because I am an avid reader. But at the same time, things change. Kids do have other opportunities with books that, I know one of the things was brought up about the Amish kids. There's a bookmobile that goes around. I know they take full and participate in that all around the county. So I don't like to just say it's just geared toward that, but one of the other things that was brought up was like walking over there. And I totally understand that. As a mom, you do think about those things as young kids walking over. And you do rely a lot on the teacher, and I respect the teachers for that because they do have a lot on their plate with walking over 20 kids, and I understand that. So I'm just thinking outside the box, like, is there a way that, one of the things that always came up was the safety over there. Could we talk to the public library? Because one of the things that I worry about is the public library is going to go away. If we don't utilize that, that's another thing that as a taxpayer, that goes back to the wayside. And that'll be eliminated. So if we as a school can give back to our community public library, why not take advantage of that? And I know I'm only hearing like teachers here, it's available, and I totally understand that. And I would understand that, you know, as a teacher going there, it's convenient and I get it. But then as a taxpayer, I'm looking at it like, we have a public library right next door that I'm paying for. You know, I want the students to get available to it. And if they're available and they go over there, they're gonna get their parents more involved with, hey, I checked out this book. Can you return it with me so I can get another one? I mean, that gets the parents over there and gets them into that public library. So I think it's twofold at the same time, but that's just my feeling on it, but yes, and the school resource officer definitely is available for a safety issue. We can, you know, utilize that at the same time, absolutely.
And I think we're all open to listening
Yeah.
about how we can keep our library open here. And there's lots of different options, and it's too early to talk about all those options in one night. We've got to gather the facts, but the fact remains, we have to make a decision going forward. And sometimes it's business decisions that are tough ones to make. So we're gonna do what we feel is in the best interest at this exact moment in time, and then review our other options.
And I do like the idea of the library bringing over a book rack or something and offering those opportunities of kids, especially the really young ones, K-2. Older ones, maybe you could go to the library more. I don't know, but I think that's a really good option to look at, and I'm glad the public library is willing to work with us on that. That being said,
I just want to add too, I did hear the talk about the emotional detriment and the libraries being the connection to, you know, sort of emotional and emotional freedom. I think that there's a lot more control in the books provided in the public library versus the library, you know, that we may have in-house, as far as making sure that they're up to speed with current cultural narratives. I think it's important that we recognize that culturally times change right quickly. And when you have a public outsource, they're always monitored a little bit more stringent than otherwise. They are frequently audited and reviewed and cataloged. And that's a pretty strong guarantee that the material those children will have access to is appropriate, time-sensitive material. And so in the face of emotional disturbances and mental health concerns and things like that, what our students are exposed to is important. And so in the public library, there's a tight requirement on material presented. So I think it's up to date and current at all times, which is very important.
good point. Any other comments? Roll call.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman. Yes. Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes, motion carried. Motion that the employment contract of teacher Erica Knapp be suspended, the employee laid off in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement and Ohio Revised Code 3319.17 due to the loss of enrollment and for financial reasons, effective June 30th, 2021, and the treasurer issue the necessary notice to the employee of this action.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
he was paid with some of the extra money we used to help expand the classroom. So
Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek.
Yes.
Mr. Mickle,
Yes. Motion carried. Motion that the employment contract of teacher Stephanie Gosnell be suspended and the employee laid off in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement and Ohio Revised Code 3319.17 due to loss of enrollment and financial reasons effective June 30th, 2021, and the treasurer issue the necessary notice to the employee of this action.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
and this is the second position we hire with that extra money. It just happens, Mrs. Gosnell was the lowest on the seniority, for that position.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, move to non-renewed Tara Kreutzer at the expiration of her current long-term substitute teaching position contract, and the treasurer be instructed to serve written notice of the intention to non-renew Mrs. Kreutzer's contract.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following for a one-year contract for the 2021-2022 school year, provided they meet all state and local requirements. Jamie Miller, cafeteria, Rita Rohr, cafeteria, and Nicole Ulrich, custodian.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following for a two-year contract starting with the 2021-2022 school year, provided they meet all state and local requirements. Tara Barnard, Student Services Guidance Secretary, and Heather Pulowski, bus driver.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve Jacqueline Mitten for a continuing contract starting with the 2021-2022 school year, provided she meets all state and local requirements.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following one-year certified contracts for the 2021-2022 school year, provided they meet all state and local requirements. And there they are.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve Daniel Collins for a continuing contract starting with the 2021-2022 school year, provided he meets all state and local requirements and pending the completion of 7 years teaching under the license.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to accept the following supplemental resignations at the conclusion of the 2020-2021 school year. Allison Hinderleiter, junior high cheerleading, Kimberly Miller, National Honor Society, Timothy Nowry, English Festival, junior high, and Douglas Seaman, golf.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call. Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank, and only because this directly affected me, the junior high cheerleading, Mrs. Tindaleiter jumped in. And we really appreciated that from a junior high mom. So thank you.
And we're gonna miss Doug Seaman in the golf side of things. He really turned our golf program around for quite a number of years. So he did a great job.
Roll call.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following classified supplemental positions for the 2021-2022 school year, provided they meet all state and local requirements. Substitute callers, Candace Mansfield, Transportation, Melissa Moriarty, Elementary, and Deborah Rolls, High School, shift coordinator, Lisa Wenzel, and head cook, Deborah Dale.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Abstain?
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following athletic supplemental positions for the 2021-2022 school year, provided they meet all state and local requirements. And there they are.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Abstain?
Mrs. Von Dracek?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, Motion carried. Motion to approve the following curricular supplemental positions for the 2021-2022 school year, provided they meet all state and local requirements. And there they are.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondresi?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve the following supplemental positions for the 2021 school year, provided they meet all state and local requirements. Chelsea Santiago, AM/PM detention. Linda Mendick, AM/PM detention. Leah Frischek, AM/PM detention. Denise Colas, Saturday detention. Timothy Dowry, Saturday detention. Anthony Tassone, Saturday detention, and Emily Woodford, Saturday detention.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Mondresi?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve a contract with Trumbull County Educational Service Center for Special Education Services for fiscal year 2022 in the amount of $525,728.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mario, what does this, amount compare to, from last year?
This was set for the current school year, was at the 525,000. Lori Simeon, the treasurer at the ESC, contacted me in December and saying that we're pretty much on pace with that with our current enrollment in special ed, so there's no need to adjust the contract in January. But compared to the previous year, we're around 430 some thousand. So last year, our increase in special enrollment has increased over the years dramatically.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondresi?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve pay and participate for the 2021-2022 school year at $100 per high school sport and $75 per junior high sport, not to exceed $300 per family.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondresi?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve an agency agreement with the Bristol Adult Athletic Booster to collect pay to participate fees for the 2021-2022 school year.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Mondresi?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to approve participation in the Ohio School Board's Workers' Compensation Group Rating Program at a cost of $670. Comp Management acts as a third-party administrator for workers' compensation and unemployment benefits.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, we've been qualifying for the group rating program the last, every year I've been here. We've had good workers' comp claims. Hopefully that continues going forward. That keeps our rates real low, which helps out our spending.
This is extremely.
Yes, it is. But part of that's because we haven't had any claims, right?
True, very minimal. We've had some, a couple of substitute, but they weren't high cost at all.
Used to be really high when we had some major injury. Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondresi?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to authorize payment for purchase order 5091 for Aramco Incorporated.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, they bought an extra Clorox sprayer, but the company changed names, so we didn't have a purchase order on file. But paid for it, and it exceeded $2,000. You remember the company? I've read it. I think it was Valley or not, Valley Environmental. I think it was.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens?
Yes.
Mrs. Mondresi?
Yes.
Mr. Mickle?
Yes, motion carried. Motion to enter into a contract with Duralast Roofing Incorporated and subcontractor Polco Enercon Incorporated to replace roofs needed through the interlocal purchasing systems TIPS Total cost for the Bristol local school re-roofing project will be approximately $171,370.53.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, there's a change in the law with using these co-op programs. So as we depending on the projects we use in the future, we may not be able to use them, but I'm gonna have the attorneys look at, the potential proposals. Kurt said that this was okay to move forward with. They're just saying certain co-ops don't meet the state definition of procurement as the issue, depending on what type of project. He said this one was okay. And also with the ESSER money taken over for the HVAC, we talked with Roger about doing the roof. The roof that's getting replaced is where the HVAC units are. So it's a perfect time to do that now and do the HVAC, and we'll have the money. We'll have the money in that fund that we had set aside for those HVAC projects to fund this.
Good. Roll call.
Mrs. Von Dresen,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman. Yes. Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried. Motion to accept the donation from Steve and Teresa Krager to Art Department in memory of Roy Pankush in honor of his daughter Megan Pankush in the amount of $20.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion?
That was nice of them, and, I really feel like we have a great art program.
Roll call.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dresen,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried. We do have an addendum. I need a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between Bristol Local School District Board of Education and the Bristol Association of School Employees, Exhibit 2021-8.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yeah, last year we had worked out an MOU that would be a temporary thing, due to the high numbers for track. We never actually were able to fill that due to COVID. Again, this year, just kind of found out recently that, we had set a number of, if we went over 28, and we're at 30, so, I thank Ms. Peterson for kind of getting back to me really quickly. I edited the MOU from last time. And again, this will be for this year. If this continues to be a trend with these high numbers, I could see this MOU being, like a long-term thing and not an annual thing. But I do think we should have a specific number set to where we're gonna have that assistant. So,
I agree. I'm not sure. 28 seems high, but I guess we can look at that. Roll call.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dresen,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mr. Chapman. Yes. Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried. I need a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss evaluation, compensation, and employment of personnel.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Mr. Chapman. Yes. Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
Mrs. Berry,
Yes.
Mrs. Von Dresen,
Yes.
Mr. Mickle.
Yes, motion carried.